people always say, hey, like, you or people like you who liked Hades, why don't you write an album or a song like, Resisting Success, the first Hades album? And I'm like, I can't, I'm like the worst phony in the world as far as like, I don't know how to put a tie on. I don't know how to act corporate. I don't think about what I should write. It just comes out.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at GhostCultMag.com. I'm super stoked today to be joined by Dan Lorenzo of Patriarchs In Black. How are you doing, brother?
Everything is good.
Isn't it? The world can be falling apart, but we still have music and we still have this community, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah, the world is a little crazy, but I'm in my own little cocoon here with my wife, and I live in a gated community, man. As soon as I go out, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But everything's good in my little circle.
Yeah, for real. It's like Florida Man, but everywhere. But yeah, man, new album Home coming out soon on one of my favorite labels, and I'm not just saying that. People who watch our channel know that we have interviewed most of the Metalville artists. They do a great job, in my opinion. They have underground artists, they have well-known artists, and they treat them all the same. Yeah. So first of all, I hope that's been a fruitful relationship for you because, it's still the music business. I'm fond of saying it's the music business, not the music friendship. But if you can work with your friends, it's better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything's going good. This is our second record with them, our fourth album overall, if you don't include our cover CD. So yeah, we've been, like I said, this is the second album with Metalville, and people seem to be loving it, so I'm stoked.
I love the covers, man. Like every band starts out as a covers band, but when you have like upper echelon people playing and making covers, it's always a great hoot.
Yeah, and as you know, we have different singers on every song, so it's been really fun giving different songs to different singers and seeing what they come back with,
Right on. Let's back it up for a second and talk exactly about that because I thought it was a super awesome approach. Obviously, you could work with anybody. There are some unbelievable singers on this record, so many bangers and so many wonderful vocal performances. Did you and Johnny write with people in mind, or did you start this project like every song's going to have a different singer and I'm going to write to that singer? Or did you write the material and then say, who would be good on this? So-and-so. How'd you go about
the second one? So basically, I just write. People always say, hey, like, you or people like you who liked Hades, why don't you write an album or a song like, Resisting Success, the first Hades album? And I'm like, I can't, I'm like the worst phony in the world as far as like, I don't know how to put a tie on. I don't know how to act corporate. I don't know how to, I don't think about what I should write. Shit just comes out. So, we in the old days, we used to have Hades rehearsals, and I come up with the riff, and this is before like you could even record things on a 4-track. I remember distinctly my drummer Tom Coombs, like I'd write a riff, he's like, play that again, and he'd do this, and I would play it again and again and again, and it's like I have a really short ass attention span, so that wasn't really conducive to me because the Hades guys wanted to rehearse 3 times a week, whether we were doing shows or not. And then when I started nonfiction, it was a lot more spontaneity, which for me is awesome. And with Patriarchs In Black, I just go upstairs or wherever, and sometimes I'm in my car and I write and I record it, and then I go to my buddy's house, my buddy's studio, J-Rod. I record to a click track. So the song is finished. Like my parts are finished by the time anybody else hears it. I send it to Johnny, does the drums. And then in my head, I hear vocals and melodies and lyrics sometimes. And then sometimes the singer's like, no, I want to write my own stuff to it. That happens more often than not. So I just think about whose voice would be good for the song,
Great. Thanks for unpacking that for us. And such a killer record. I really can't wait for people to hear this thing. And it seems like you made a record with a lot of your friends. So that's really cool that you became friends if you weren't already. But I know that these are, in some cases, close associates of yours and people, just, you and Johnny know from the business. I think it's a great collection of people. Who surprised you the most with the job they did?
Let's think. So there's this guy named Joe Ferrara. I wrote a song. It had a temporary title called White Dog, and it became Storm King. But I had given it to Karl, like when I gave him the call like a year ago. And I said to Karl, I said, man, I have melody and lyrics for this song, the call. It was called something different. And I fucking loved it. And he's like, no, I don't want to hear it, man. Let me work. I'm like, all right. So like a few months go by, I'm like, yo, man, you sure I can't send you what I have? He's like, no, just hang on, don't do that. I'm going. So he eventually wrote something, and he never finished the tentative title song, White Dog, which became Storm King. So I'm like, shit, man, I want this song on the record. So there's a band around here. They really play in Maryland more often, in Connecticut, called the Amish Outlaws. And their bass player has been a fan of mine since he was 14 years old. And the singer sent me a text out of the blue, just like, hey, man, I have this great singer for you if you ever need anybody. I'm like, you know what? I have a song I want to get in the record, but it's not going to be enough time. And this guy, Joe Ferrara, who I never heard of before. I mean, maybe I saw him because I've seen the Amish Outlaws a lot, but I didn't remember him. And he sang his ass off in less than 24 hours. He sent me a finished song that has been sitting around there with drums, and Johnny Araya, Tom Araya's brother, he played bass guitar on it like months ago. And the record had to be handed in, and Joe finished the song like 24 hours after I gave it to him, and his vocals just crushed it. So that was really cool. And then, like, the last person I spoke with on the phone was DMC. It's just still funny to me that, he's involved with me. He loves my riffs. He loves Patriarchs in Black. So that's like still surprising to me, even though we've written like, I guess, 1, 2, 3 songs for Patriarchs in Black together and about 7 or 8 songs for DMC and me,
Amazing. Yeah, we're big DMC fans, and that's a great story about Joe. Yeah, Karl, of course, is Karl Agell. People know him best from COC Blind, but of course, Karl is currently the singer of several bands. The Skull, Lie Heavy. Karl's a huge influence of mine personally, and I've been very lucky to interview him a few times, and he even remembered like a 10-year gap of interviews. Just like, yeah, you were so cool. I was like, well, you were so cool. So and then such a great, just a wonderful dude. His vocals crush on that song. And then Kyle from Exhorder kicks things off with a very Exhorder-y sounding song, like a very swampy NOLA metal song. Kyle's very versatile and incredible. Is another dude who could sing the phone book and it would sound great, I always say Dewey Bragg from Kill Devil Hill, not his performance, because I know the guy has incredible pipes, but that song surprised me with what he put on it. Because I think people will be very surprised to hear this very beautiful, angelic voice come from this hard-ass biker-looking dude, right?
Yeah, I was just texting with him last night. So I actually wrote those lyrics in the melody line, and the song is called Frisian, and I titled the song that because I'm messing around on Instagram, contacting tattoo artists, which is what I do for a living. And it said the word Frisian is something like, when music gives you goosebumps, that's Frisian, So I'm like, oh, I never knew that. That's a cool title for a song. And Johnny's mom passed away. Johnny Kelly's mom passed away while we were making this record. And so did my younger cousin. And the song is basically about somebody in a hospital room. It's like going into the hospital room and you could stay for a while or stay till the end, meaning the end of life. And I've waited my whole life to sing you this song, but now my time's over. It's time to go home. And that's what the album means. Home means like where I am right now, but it also means up there, like, when you pass away or when you're driving and your navigation's like, you hit your address, taking you home. The word just comes up a lot for me lately. And I thought it had like a cool just vibe of, all the different connotations of the word home. But yeah, Dewey, I knew he'd crush anything he could sing. He sang on our first album, and I've sent him a couple things after that, but he didn't have time, or just, it took him a while. But I sent him this. I'm like, man, I need you to sing this. So I sent it to him with me singing, really poorly. I'm not a great singer. I'm not even a good singer, but I had the lyrics and the melody, and I don't even play on that song. I wrote the violin parts, the viola, and the lyrics and the melody. So it's probably the first song I ever played on, or the first song I've ever had on a record where I'm not even playing on the song,
Right on. Maybe that's an unexplored extra talent now, arranging and scoring and things like, classical music is
because we know I can't
talented.
play hardly anymore. I got so much pain from my wrist from up to here. It hurts when I play. So maybe that's the future for me.
Oh no. Well, I'm sure you can see a specialist about that.
Yes.
First of all, I'm sorry for your loss. We talked to Johnny right after his mom passed away too, so I'm deeply sorry to hear that. And you wrote a very nice message on my personal Instagram that I don't barely use anymore about my, like my last post. I don't post there much. I have like ghost cult accounts that I manage also. But thank you for that very nice message about my mom, because my mom passed away and it was a very similar thing. And that song made so much sense to me, and the album makes a lot more sense to me now. So thank you for your, it's compassion and empathy are lacking in the world. So maybe we can inject it back with art and music, right?
Yeah.
So, I imagine like every guitar player, you jam and you write riffs. But like, obviously, like every guitar player has like, oh, that riff I never used, or that demo I never saw all the way through last time. But, it feels very fresh. It does feel like on one hand, it's like, I always feel with you, I know what your influences are. I know Johnny's influences from project to project, drum to drum, tuning to tuning. I know how he does. But for you, like, I imagine like, it's a whole new process when you're writing for, the record, we're going to write a new record and I'm going to collect ideas and I'm going to put them down. Do you do, I see you do a lot of pre-production and demoing yourself. Do you do a lot of demo processes before you even share that stuff?
No, so what I do is just like I said, for the song "The Call," the one that Karl Agell sings and John J.D. DeServio from Black Label Society on bass. I was either checking out of a hotel with my wife or I was driving in my car and I went, bow, wow, 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 and I hummed that into my phone. I'm like, this is fucking happening, this riff. So I come home and Bobby Blitz once said something about me really nice that I'll never forget. And he's right. Like I hear the riff in my head. I think I don't know how to play it. But then I pick up a guitar and I just start playing it in the right key. Like I have a couple of different guitars upstairs. I always seem to pick the right guitar with the right tuning. But so I'll play that and then I'll mess around with that riff. And then I just played it over and over again. And then where I see where it takes me. And then it takes me to the chorus. And then I'm like, okay, now where's the next step? So I don't jam as far as like, I don't jam with like Johnny and I have never jammed together, believe it or not, in the same room. We've never done that. But I have an idea of how I want to lay this song out. And then what I do, Keith, is I just say if the song is like almost together Monday night, I'll text my engineer like, yo, you got some recording time for me Wednesday, Thursday, or next week? And then whatever he says, like, yeah, next week, I'm like, now I got to bear down and arrange this song the right way. Like, usually the song's not 100% arranged until he books time for me, and then I'm like, I gotta figure this out,
Well, that little self pressure is probably really good for you. Like that's a good expectation to set for yourself. Like time management, man, just like everything else in life, right?
Yep, exactly.
And you're doing this around family and around your career outside of music and everything. So respect, man, much respect. But yeah, it's a great sounding record. You and your crew have great ears, and I'm still a fan of albums. I grew up listening to albums on vinyl. I went through all the things, tapes and CDs. I love a sequenced album, and even though all these songs have different singers, it still sounds like Patriarchs In Black, and it's really well, like it's a real good journey to listen to from start to finish, personally.
Yeah, I really think Visioning was one of I mean, people always say, oh, this is the best record, this is one, whatever. I thought Visioning was like, that's an album that had to be listened to as an album, the previous album. Not that it didn't make sense song by song, but I really like, an album. And, there's some people who's like, oh, it's hard to have continuity with all different singers, but it's like, my Spotify playlist, it goes all over the map. But to me, there's continuity in there. It's just fucking great music, So thank you for your kind words.
Yeah, no worries. So, these are the things that matter to me, the listener. And I also have a podcast about vinyl where we listen to whole discographies and yell at each other and disagree. It's awesome. But listening, I still care about records. I know that they say that half the people that buy records don't even have a turntable. But you know what? You're supporting a band you love. If that's your jam, and at least take them out of the plastic because they do shrink. They shrink over time. You don't want to warp your records, even if you're never going to play them. They're beautiful. I'm sure it's like amazing to you to have vinyl now, having sold tapes out of your car, and it shows in the 80s and 90s and CDs. And now it's amazing to have like vinyl of this product. I know Metalville does a very nice job on the physical
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
Yeah, I got a rad Lee Aaron record from them that they sent me after talking to
Wow.
Lee, and I love Lee. Like, she was like, "Seriously, you remember that?" I was like, "How could I not?" I used to carry my little Denon cassette tape bag around with me everywhere in high school with the orange headphones that were terrible, and
I
everybody
had
was
such a crush on her in the 80s, I must say.
gorgeous and
Yeah.
still beautiful
Yeah.
and like
Cool.
just incredibly nice and humble. Also, she'd
Cool.
be maybe for the next record. You could get her on a song. She's so talented. Metalville, make that happen for us. Yeah, man. Was there anybody you couldn't get that you wanted?
Yeah. Phil Anselmo, reached out to him, never heard back. And he was a fan of nonfiction. And Rex Brown, I texted him for the previous record. I said, hey, man, how much would it cost to get you to do a song? He's like, dude, I do it for free, but I'm not allowed to right now. I'm not allowed to. And then I think there were some people who just didn't respond. And who I finally tracked down, and we're writing a song together right now, is this guy named Dan from a band called 60 Watt Shaman.
Great.
I have loved his voice for years. I could never get a hold of him. Of course, I got a hold of him right after we handed in the home album. So we're actually writing a song together right now. He sent me some stuff he did the other night, and I'm really psyched about it. So I did get a hold of him. JD from Black Label Society is a huge New York Knicks fan, and I'm wearing my Knicks jersey right now.
Right on.
So, that was really cool. I mean, he and I have jammed. Actually, he played on the second album as well. And Bobby Blitz, every couple of years or so, he has like an all-star jam with like Chris Caffery, and he lets me hang out with the all-stars, and we do like covers, every now and then. Blitz, I wrote the first song, Hymns for the Heretic, for him. I misunderstood him, it turns out. I thought he wanted to be involved. Like, he's a big fan of my riffs. We did the Curse record together. He's always been so nice to me, complimentary of my songwriting, but he doesn't want to be, what he says, one of many. He doesn't want to be one of 10 singers on the record. And honestly, at this point in my life, Keith, I am having so much fun with this. Like, as much as I say love Vessel of Light, that was my band previous to this, and Nathan Opposition is such a fucking genius, and I love Vessel of Light still. Right now, I can't even imagine doing a record with just one singer. It's just, to me, it's so exciting having every song potentially sound so different from the next one,
Right on, of course. Yeah, Blitz is great. And JD's another Jersey guy, and I love all
Yeah.
this Knicks love. They finally had like a good season. We'll see what happens next year. I'm a very jaded old school Knicks fan because they won like 3 months before I was born and then never again. But luckily, I'm a Yankees fan, and the Giants have treated me pretty well, except for the last couple of years. So I can't be too mad. And Rangers and hockey, I would understand if you were a Devils fan, because how could you not be?
Hockey's, I don't even watch hockey. So for me, it goes like basketball and then baseball and then football. Like,
All right.
I grew up a baseball player, but I'm just obsessed with the New York Knicks. Like, that's
Yeah. They finally have a good team.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. I hope next year they take it another step forward. League is in parity. Anybody could win now.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I
Cool.
hope we win. But yeah, maybe the Knicks can have you out there and play the anthem or something. They need the luck.
I don't think James Dolan would let me take the guitar out of his hands. So.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, right. He has a big guitar collection, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just a killer album. Fun hearing about those things. Outside of those who you already mentioned, obviously, yeah, DMC, man, the guy is a legend. That whole track is incredible.
Thank you.
It's also, I think people are going to really key in on that. I don't know if it's going to be a single, but maybe it should be. I listened to that track a bunch of times, and that and a few others, and yeah, it's such a standout. DMC is just one of the best humans ever, man. I got to meet him and talk to him, and he's amazing, and his music's amazing still.
It's funny because I was going into the studio to write, do a new Black Sabbath cover, and I sent a riff I had that I found on my phone, and I'm like, dude, what do you think of this riff? And he didn't respond, and that's generally his way of saying, not really. So like, half an hour ago. He's like, hey man, can you send me that riff again? I'm like, okay. So I sent it to him again. He's like, fuck yes. He's like, that's the song has got to start just like that. That's gonna be a hit. That's gonna be one of the greatest. I'm like, so I called him up, like, you cracked me up, man. I thought you didn't like it. I was going into the studio. I would have actually recorded it that night, but you never responded, so I thought you didn't like it. He's like, I love it, so it's still so funny. I can listen to It's Tricky in my car one day, and I'm talking with DMC telling me he just freaks out from my riffs, like, half an hour ago, or maybe 45 minutes, right before we started this interview.
Yeah, he's amazing. Big fan of his comic book series. Daryl makes comics and all his different things. He's got a band with your buddy Dukes. Yeah. Then he has also, you made some music with Rob Dukes. Met Rob Dukes back in Exodus. So maybe Rob will be, in between Exodus things. Maybe he can come back for the next one. That would be cool.
We're mixing a song right now with Rob Dukes on vocals called a Kiss cover, Strange Ways.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I love the Almost Human cover. That's kind of funny that you brought that up, the Strange Ways. Yeah. Almost Human's like a super underrated song to me. Yeah. I remember it very well from side 4 of Kiss Alive 2. That's how far back I go Kiss Army.
No.
Oh, no, it was Love Gun. That's right. Love Gun.
Yeah.
That's right. Love Gun. It's that same era. They all kind of bleed together. It's 50 years ago. I don't remember shit from yesterday. I don't know what I had for dinner last night. So anyway, all I know is music. I don't have room for anything else, and maybe my lady. But yeah, man, it's such a fun project, and I do hope you keep this vibe going. And I'm really excited. Besides sharing all this other stuff, obviously you're constantly working on stuff. Anything else going on? Any chance of some Hades reissues on vinyl at some point again?
It all came out last year. Everything.
Right. Was that everything?
Everything, including an album called Hades at Lost Fox Studio Sessions, which is just demo tapes. And Hades Live on Location just came out. It's such a good package. Guy's gonna kill me. He's from Albuquerque. I can't think of the name of the label that re-released it, but it was funny because last year I got the copy of Visioning on vinyl, and then I got nonfiction preface, Nonfiction in the Know, Nonfiction It's a Wonderful Lie, Hades, what came out last? The Downside, Save Yourself, Live on Location. It was like I can't even believe I've released this many records in my life, but yeah, everything is on vinyl. And in fact, I want to get you a shirt for free. There's a company called Back from the Dead. Send me an email with your shirt size and your mailing address, so I'll get you a Hades Resisting Success shirt. Back from the Dead and Season of Mist make our officially licensed Hades Nonfiction, Vessel of Light, and Patriarchs in Black shirts.
Shout out to them. I know they have a print-on-demand company and all that jazz. So good stuff there. Season of Mist, also friends of ours. So nice work, man. Thank you so much. It's very generous of you. I was a huge fan, like I said, going back in the day. Nonfiction ripped also. I love those records. It's a Wonderful Lie. It was on rotation for a while with me. And yeah, man, I'm glad you're still out there grinding away and doing your thing. I always like to end these with a wild card question. So knowing that you were a Jersey guy and I have a lot of history going from New York City to Jersey, take me back in time. Wild card question. What is your favorite show you attended as a fan in New Jersey as a youth? Could be local, could have been huge, whatever it is.
The answer. Plasmatics Coup d'etat tour. We mentioned Almost Human by Kiss. That's actually Jean-Paul Bouvier playing bass on that. I saw him a couple years ago and I said, man, that is the shit, Coup d'etat. And he's like, man, everybody loves that album. But I went to see them less than 15 miles from my house at a place called Circus Circus. And I actually wrote about this in a book. I think the book is called The Circus. And I go in, and now my dad had died. And I guess unbeknownst to me, I was having panic attacks. And this was probably my first time I really knew I had a panic attack. I go to see the Plasmatics, and the bombs are going off. And shit's falling from the roof. The roof wasn't that high, the ceiling. And I remember having a lot of difficulty breathing. And I really thought I was going to die. Like literally, I thought I was going to die. I ran outside, and maybe it was just a panic attack, or maybe there really was crap going into my nose and my lungs. But just, I'm such a big fan of the Plasmatics Coup d'etat album. And even though I've seen some great shows in New Jersey, just the intimacy of that small venue, and my love for Coup d'etat. I mean, to me, it's a perfect album. That was probably my favorite show I've ever seen in Jersey.
Right on. That's amazing. I'm so jealous. That's a great story. And I hope you've overcome your issues as an anxiety sufferer and panic attack sufferer. Uh,
Lexapro, low dose
yeah,
Lexapro.
I have it. I'm on a high dose because I can't, I have trouble, but
Yeah,
I'm on a very high dose, but it's all good, man. We'll get through.
yeah.
Music will help us. That's my higher power. Dan Lorenzo, Patriarchs in Black, new album, Home, coming out on Metalville Records, our favorite, one of our favorite labels. We're not supposed to have favorite labels, but I do. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today,
Thank
man.
you,
I
man.
appreciate you.
Had a
And
great time.
yeah, best of luck with everything and go Knicks.
Thank you, man. Send me this link when you have it.
I will do. We're going to
Thank
share
you.
everything. See you
Really
soon.
appreciate it. Bye.
Any